I'm a, oh, that's right. I forgot to record it. Let me just get rid of this. Okay, got it. I'm a believer that I call myself a curious agnostic. I think that something's out there, but I don't think we really know anything. I think that it's better to keep an open mind, to let things kind of come to us without, holding any kind of thing rigidly. I mean, I think that's what the psychic mind does. It's open to these different ideas. So did you have any questions about the handout I sent to you all beforehand? Like the breathing with the third eye and the crown chakra. Did anybody have any questions about that?
Not a question, but a thank you. That is.
Oh, hi, Marion.
Hi. I love it. It was so great. Such a tremendous preparation. So thank you for that.
And I had you do those breathing exercises because we're going to use some of that in the procedure today. And it helps to already open you up to leaving, in a sense, leaving your body, at least in an imaginative way, and going outside of it to access the records. What kind of sensations did you have when you breathed with your third eye or your crown chakra? Do you remember? What did you have any sensations? Because you guys are already doing psychic work, so you may or may not have like a tingling in your third eye or a pressure. Anybody get a headache? That can happen. Nobody really had any kind of experience with that.
It felt light and airy, like it felt very light.
Yeah, they can do that. And I sort of guess that you all might not have a lot because you're already doing the work. When people are just starting, some people can actually get a headache that goes away once you stop doing the exercises. So what I want to do is give you a brief outline about what to expect as you go up to the records. And I'm giving you that purposely because you guys are experienced. And what I would ask you to do is not run off and go let this be your own procedure, because we're sort of doing it as a group. It's always different doing hypnosis in a group setting versus one-on-one. But I'd like to introduce you to a different technique. So even if you're going way ahead of us, I'm trying to tune into the whole group and go at the pace that works for everybody. And it helps if you use this procedure and then modify it later if there's something about it that doesn't work for you. So I'm going to kind of give you what to expect in just a minute. And so then I'll take you to the hypnotic state. I'll get you there and I'll bring you back and make sure you're fully back. And it's nice that there aren't too many people here so I can actually see you. There are people who do hypnotherapy virtually. I don't know how you do it because if somebody had a problem, I don't really know how you do that when they're not with you in the room. But there are people who do that. And then I thought we'd come back, and if you want, you can share your experience. Sometimes it helps to validate it and make it concrete when you share. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'm open to staying as long as you want. And then if you have any other questions about anything, we can talk about that as well. Okay. So before we get started, any kind of question?
Karen, I just wanted to say that you just said that you can see everybody, but we have 29 people and we actually have 2 pages and somebody else is coming in. So you would actually—
I've never had 2 pages. So you just click on this thing over here.
There's on the right hand side, there's an arrow. So now we have 30 people.
That's a different experience. Well, hello, 30 people.
I think that's the most we've had.
Well, let me shut up about me and tell you exactly what we're going to do. There are what I recommend. I'm going to take you through a progressive relaxation, which is just a technique. You're probably familiar with it, to get you to calm down and get tuned in and get your day away from you so that you can tune into this. And you may at some time not feel your body, and that's okay. You might actually leave your body, and that's okay. But this is like an imaginative thing where you're moving your awareness out of your body into the ethers. I mean, I sort of think of the Akashic record as somewhere out in the cosmos. Let me talk for a moment, though, about what it looks like. So I love books and I love old libraries, and I may use that imagery, but I will leave things open so that you can kind of see the imagery you see for the Akashic records. Some people, when they have done this before with me, get out there and they see was it Bill, the one with Giles is the one with the Hubble telescope picture behind him. Some people get out there and feel like that's what they're in, and they're in this beautiful kind of Hubble telescope photo, and that's the Akashic records for them. It's all energetic. You can do whatever you want, but I am going to have you actually holding a record in your hands that'll be a record answering your question. And so it helps to, if you want to think of a library with books, that's fine, but I'll try to leave that open for you. I have done enough hypnosis to understand that I have to be careful with certain imagery. Like I won't use an imagery of water because some people are afraid of water. And so I try to keep it open enough so that you can find your way through to do it. If at any time you're uncomfortable, bring yourself back. You can open your eyes, put your hand on your solar plexus, wiggle your toes, take a deep breath, take a drink of water, whatever it is. If you're at all uncomfortable, do that. But I think most of you are already doing this kind of work anyway. So you're kind of familiar with the state of mind we're going into. I also recommend you keep a pad of paper and pen, although I realize I'm probably dating myself. You could use technology to take a few notes. Some of us, as we've gotten older, don't remember. When I was younger, I could remember, I can't now. So you might want to it's fine if you can open up your eyes just a little bit. People do it all the time when I've done this before, and just jot a few notes down. We're not going to spend a long time there just because of our time limits, but I want you to, don't feel like you're going to lose it if you take a moment to take notes. I spoke in the homework, the pre-work, the idea of psychic insights come to you. And like I say, this group already probably knows that, but I would ask you to stay in the psychic frame of mind. So if you see a red bunny, stay away from thinking, trying to figure out what the red bunny means. If you want to know, you ask the red bunny what it wants to tell you. The minute you're trying, analyzing, you're in the left brain. And I value that part of the mind, but for this, we want to stay with receiving psychic information. If you're feeling stuck at all during this, I suggest you go back to listening to what I say. Try not to go to sleep, even those of us who are later at night, like Bill, who's like, what is it, 1, 2 o'clock at this point in the morning? You can actually go to sleep while you're getting hypnosis, but doing Akashic records, you need to be awake enough to kind of get the information. It'll still benefit you, even if you sleep through the whole thing. But if you're finding yourself having a problem getting in that space you want to get to, then listen to my voice and you can listen to the words and do what I say, but let the voice take you into a deeper trance. Now, I know I have 2 screens here, but at any time, I'll try to go back and forth. If you can't hear me, I do have a microphone. Can everybody hear me okay? No, I'm talking loud right now. Yeah, I will not always talk that way. It'll get softer, but I'll try to take a look and make sure if somebody's having a problem, just wave your hand and I'll try to raise my voice. I don't want to raise it too loudly, too much though. So what I'm going to do is get you relaxed, take you to put your awareness on the top of your head. You're going to do some breathing like in the homework, the crown chakra breathing, the third eye breathing. And at some point, you're going to go through a tunnel of light. Some of you may have already done this kind of imagery before. You're going to go through this vibrating tunnel of light very quickly up into the cosmos. And then when you come out on the other end, there you're going to be right in front of the Akashic records. And you're going to, I asked you not to go in right away, just to stand there. It is a hypnotic technique to have you stand there and take it in and feel it and get this sense of the immensity of these records that are a record of everything in the universe, not just on our planet. And I want you to feel that before you walk in. And there may be other guides or spirits there, that's fine too. And then I'm going to have you go into the library, the Akashic records, and pretty much immediately there's going to be a guide that meets you, your own specific personal guide. I like to call that guide a reference librarian, but it's a being that's specifically there to help you with your reason for coming to the records. And I may do a little thing to let them show you around a little bit. And then at some point, I will have you ask that guide the question and to show you the record. I would suggest a book, but if your record is a box or a ball or whatever it is will come. And if you have problems getting a record, then you just demand it from the reference librarian. You don't have to be a wuss about it. You don't have to beg. You can just say, look, I want this record. I need this record. And if you really can't get anything, it's okay to yell, as long as you're not yelling out loud. It has to be yelling to yourself. It helps when you get blocked every once in a while psychically to have some techniques for how to move through it. You may already have some of your own, but one of them would be to yell. Yell meaning silently. And if you do it all the time, it doesn't work. And you also just become a difficult person. But if you get really angry when you're not getting something every once in a blue moon, it helps to clear the table of the block. So you can do that if you're having a problem. And at some point, you're going to get that record. I'm going to have you hold it in your hands before you ever open it, before you ever ask the question and open it. You're going to hold it. You're going to feel it. You're going to be one with it. Another hypnotic technique to make this connection, to make a deeper connection so that you get answers. And then you're going to open it, and who knows what's going to happen after that. We'll spend a little more time in the Akashic records, and then at some point I'll have you thank everybody, come back down very quickly, come back into your body. I'll give you all these suggestions to bring you back fully. And I know you guys already know how to do this, because you've from the looks of it that we talked a little bit beforehand. I mean, this is the reason this group meets, is to do this kind of work. So I just want to make sure that you're all back fully and completely before we start talking about it. So any questions? No. And so I guess y'all are muted, aren't you? Are they muted, Sheila, because they don't get to talk? Is that it? Oh,
If they have a question, they could unmute.
oh, okay.
But,
All
but
right.
it's because that way you don't have any background noise from barking dogs or
Oh, good
phones or
point.
whatever.
I've never been virtual on such a big group. Is this cool? Thank you for the experience. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is, first, do you have your question handy on a piece of paper? It would help just to have it. If you have a good memory, that's okay too. So what I'd like you to do is just stretch and, kind of get the kinks out of your body, do a little bit of turning, just kind of get your body to relax. You might try even tightening up everything, every muscle, every arm, make a fist, scrunch your feet up, and then let it go. Now, the research in hypnosis says that when you take somebody into a trance and then you bring them out again, and then you take them back in, that you will go deeper into trance. And that's been my experience as well. So I'd like you to start by keep your eyes open, look forward without moving your head, and roll your eyes up to like you're looking at your hairline. Do not move your head, just roll your eyes up. And let your eyes strain even to look up at your hairline. And as you do that, begin to soften your breath. Looking up at your hairline without moving your head, begin to feel the stress in your eyes. And that's okay. Just looking hard up at the hairline, feeling your eyes getting heavy. Maybe it's the end of your day and you just like to go to sleep. Just keep your eyes up, looking at your hairline as your eyelids begin to just want to blink, and it's okay to blink. Take in a deep breath, and when you let your breath out, slowly close your eyes. Relax your jaw. Just slowly close your eyes. Relax your jaw at the hinge. Let your shoulders fall down. Release your belly and sink into your chair just a little bit more. And feel your body relax. Take in a long, deep breath. And when you're ready, let it out with a sigh. And when you're ready at your own pace, take in a long, deep breath and let it out with a sigh. And one last time, when you're ready, a long, deep breath and let it out with a sigh. And now you can just let your breath relax. It will begin to calm at its own pace in its own way. And just for a moment, open your eyes again and look up at your hairline. Look again without moving your head at your hairline and feel your eyes just wanting to close so you can relax and go deeper into peace. And so when you exhale next, slowly close your eyes. And as you do, all the breath moves down your body, taking all the tightness and tension down your body, out of the bottoms of your feet and deep inside the earth. Now imagine that the heavens have opened up and a beautiful light shines down upon your body. And if it's okay, allow that light to enter the top of your head and move gently down your body, going into every nook and cranny, taking any tightness, any tension down your body, down your body, out of the bottoms of your feet and deep inside the earth. Mother Earth will take that energy and transform it into life-enhancing energy. Wave after wave of beautiful heavenly light flowing through your body now, taking all the tightness, all the tension down your body. Wave after wave of healing heavenly light, relaxing your body, bringing you deep into peace, even deeper. Letting go now of all expectations, releasing, relaxing. Now put all of your thoughts, your sense of self, in the center of your forehead. Just be present there. Be aware there. And as you breathe, the only part of your body that's breathing is your third eye. Breathing in and out at your own pace through your third eye. Perhaps you feel the breath, the air, flowing through your third eye. Maybe a bit of tension or sensation, that's okay. Continue breathing through your third eye, feeling it expand, going deeper into your brain. Take your awareness now into your brain where the pineal and the pituitary glands are, and just be with both of those glands. You don't have to know where they are. Just find them with your awareness. Sit with them as if you are sitting with a friend, an old friend. Be present there. Be aware there. And breathe with your endocrine glands. Breathe with your deeper awareness, your psychic awareness. And as you do, your crown chakra begins to open. And now focus all of your breath on the top of your head, breathing in and out at your own pace. Like the soft spot when you were a baby and so connected with the all that is. Breathe with your crown chakra. Allow it to unfold and open in whatever way is best for you. As it expands, you have a greater capacity to leave your physical being and travel out into the cosmos. And in just a moment, there is going to be a special tunnel of vibrating light that comes down to the crown so that you are invited to go to the Akashic records. Breathe with your crown. Allow it to open and expand. Pretend you are sitting right on the top of your head, waiting for that tunnel of vibrating light. And then it shines down from the cosmos, and up you go, traveling through this vibrating, spiraling light. Going fast now, up into the cosmos, out into the other end, and right before you step out. And right before you is the Akashic records. Take a moment and take that all in. What does it look like? What does the Akashic records feel like? Sense the immensity of this place. Perhaps there are other beings there already helping you. There is a part of you that wants to help you with your life, that is always wanting to help you with your life. And you are always welcome at the Akashic records. And so, if you will, enter the Akashic records. And when you do, take it all in, the immensity of the place. And immediately a guide, a reference librarian, comes to assist you. Welcome. Welcome to the Akashic records, the all that is throughout the universes. You are welcome here. If you will, take a moment and allow the guide, the being, to show you around a bit. I'll give you a moment to do that. And then stand with the guide, with the being, the reference librarian, and tell that being that you have a question. Ask the being your question and ask for a record from the Akashic records that would help you specifically at this time. Perhaps the guide takes you to a particular stack of records, books, or maybe the automatically appears. Expect to get a record to answer your question. I'll give you a moment for that. When you get the record, hold it in your hands. And if you don't have a record yet, ask again. Expect the librarian to give you a record. And just hold it. Feel it. What emotions do you have from this record? What thoughts come into your mind? Do you like the record? Is it a bit overwhelming? Maybe not enough. When you're ready, open up the record and expect your answer to come. Allow it to come in any form it chooses to give you. If you need assistance, ask for the guide, the being, to show you another part of the record to help you. Take some notes if you like. And for some of you, look to the reference librarian and say, is there anything else? Is there anything else that I need to know right now about this question? And see what comes. Good. And so it's time now to come back out of the space in the Akashic records. And so return your record. Give it back to who gave it to you. Knowing full well that you are always welcome to come back and read this or other records whenever you want. Take a moment to take it all in, look around. Thank the being who has helped you. And go to walk out of the Akashic records. Stand outside, turn around, look at the records, feel them once again, and understand that you are always welcome to come back here. But it's time to go now. Go back to the tunnel, the entrance to the tunnel, and go down it quickly. Just jump in, come down fully and completely. Come back now, clearly down into your body. Enter into your body, take a big, deep breath. Stretch your arms, your fingers, come back fully and completely. Open your eyes when you're ready, and take a few moments to take some notes. Take a breath. Open your eyes, coming back now fully and completely. Coming back now. You can always go back later. Everyone back now? I see a few that aren't. If it helps, take a drink of water. Helps you bring you back. There, someone's already doing that. Okay. So I think everybody's back now. Sister Rosemarie, are you back with us? Are you back?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
You're in a nice space. And I think everybody else is back. It's hard to see some of you guys. I've never had so many people on a virtual thing, on a Zoom before. Cool. So take a few minutes to make some notes. And I think a few of you are doing that. And then some of you I can't even see. So while some of you are still taking notes, did everybody feel like they got any kind of insights to your question? Did you feel like you got something? No, Astrid didn't. No, you didn't. Karen didn't get any. Let me see who else. Anybody else get any? Not get any?
Nothing happened at all for me.
Who said that?
Astrid said that.
Oh, Astrid said that. I had to get back on your page. So let me talk to you because you're not on the second page. So were you able to get into a space to receive it, or it just didn't come? Do you feel like you were in a space where you go when you do this kind of work?
Meditation, this kind and stuff has never ever worked for me. I've always wanted to try hypnosis for certain things, both psychic and non-psychic, spiritual and unspiritual, in person, but I can't afford it, and insurance doesn't pay for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've had a couple of when I was young, I had a really frightening experience with self-hypnosis.
Oh.
And I felt it was from my subconscious not wanting to give in. And I know it all stems from lack of control, from trauma in my life.
So you've
It seems
had
like
trauma.
my subconscious won't let me. I've had major traumas, many.
And you've had trauma over hypnosis. There was something as a child with hypnosis.
I wasn't a child. I was about 23 or so, 24. Okay. And I had done a lot of reading. I even talked to some hypnotists. I didn't have sessions, but I talked to them, and I had a frightening experience, and I just felt my whole life like it's a giving up control issue, which is
it
the scariest thing.
It is. It definitely is.
So when you have just won't let me.
But I tell you, practice self-hypnosis is the way you get better at it. But see, you've got an unconscious belief that hypnosis has, because you had a scary traumatic experience. Doesn't matter how much your conscious mind wants to do it. When there's a conflict between conscious and unconscious, the unconscious wins. So there is a need to do some work over that. It'd help if you saw a professional, but there are books on self-hypnosis that you could work with yourself to do that. And the more you do self-hypnosis, not meditation is one thing, self-hypnosis is a little different. The more you do self-hypnosis, the easier it is to get into trance. But that'll probably be a block because you have trauma over it. I totally understand that.
I have had trauma. Well, I think the trauma comes from before that experience of having traumatic events happen to me that I couldn't control, that I couldn't get out of.
Yeah.
And I feel like anything that sends you into the ether, even though it sounds exciting.
Oh yeah.
It's not. Then I don't know what's happening. Then I don't know what's happening in my room, in my house, in my conscious world. And I feel like my subconscious will not let it happen. I totally get that.
So a lot of my clients as a hypnotherapist were survivors of child sexual abuse. I'm a survivor. And I would often have a family member in the room because I wouldn't trust me either. They don't know me from Adam. So that's one way you get past that is any good hypnotherapist would let you have somebody in the room with you and that you trust that may help.
Well,
self-hypnosis can help you. And there are books out and I recommend you work on that. Because it will get in the way of you doing any psychic work. Say again.
It doesn't though. I'm naturally psychic. It comes to me what I'm meant to know, what I'm not meant to know. I do excellent readings for people when I have the opportunity. I've been psychic my whole life. It does not affect that. It
But
just
this
affects
kind of thing
everything.
gets in the way. You don't want to do this kind of
Yeah.
thing is a problem.
Well, like you said, like I told you before, when
Give
I
control.
first came, when you first asked me, there's something I'm dying to know. And yes, it's preventing me from knowing that. So it's preventing, it's hurting something I
Yeah.
really need to find peace.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. But it doesn't affect my psychic work one bit.
Oh, well, good.
That's the weird thing.
That's good. I'd recommend it. Some trauma you need to work, I think, with a professional. I think it's easier if you can. You might look around at a school to see if they have students that want to practice on you. Other people, did you have any difficulties, any positive experiences?
I had an amazing positive experience.
Okay, Marion.
I'll be quick because someone else may want to talk, but my question wasn't clear in my mind, but when I got there, it was beautiful, like dazzling light, golden, and a guide came to me, and then it changed to a different guide and then another guide, and they handed me this beautiful, beautiful white and golden white book, and I started to open it, and then a lot of images came to mind, and then I just was looking around. It was so I didn't ask any questions really. Nothing in particular. I was trying to think of like, well, what do I want to know? But I think the point is that I got there and I realized that I can go back and ask. But the main thing for me was the experience of being there, which was beyond words. It was such a strong image of what I experienced, and the energy was beautiful. It was really beautiful.
Nice. And one of the cool things about doing this right before many of us are going to bed, some probably should be in bed, is that you've done this, even though it was really kind of short. They're usually a little bit longer than this. You're going to be more open. Your dreams tonight are going to be really wonderful because you've done this right before, going to bed. I see kitties in several different places. Thank you for the cat. I get a cat fix because I don't have one. Other people who've had experiences they'd like to share. Oh, isn't that cute?
Yeah, I had an interesting experience. This is Joyce.
Joyce.
I found when I first went inside, I could hear all these voices around me that were really excited that I was there. And then suddenly I was in like almost like a wheelchair, and it was a man, like almost like a king, and just going forward and just wanted to continue going. It felt very freeing. And then you're asking about the questions. So I came back because I was asking, there's been a lot of difficult traumatic things in my life. And I was asking essentially, are we done with this? And there was this black energy that was just coming around that felt very, very oppressive. And then ultimately it was like having to go through the black, and then it was like a cocoon. And then there was this almost like a fairy princess that was coming out of it, very glittery and sparkly. And it's like through the blackness will come an even deeper connection into spirituality. But then when I was asking about where is the blackness, and it seemed to lead to something with one of my stepdaughters, and it was like, ooh. So it was a real mix, but I definitely had tears streaming down my cheeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And and probably because this is too short, you can always go back. One of the things you might do, where if for those of you had an experience one way or the other, you could go back into that space before you sleep tonight. As you're sleeping, be in the space, you're more likely to continue the experience to get more information.
Yeah.
Others.
I felt like I was met by Merlin.
Say that again, Jen.
I felt like I was met. Well, not felt. I saw Merlin. He met me at records. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And welcomed me.
Did he tell you something really interesting? I'm curious.
No, he was showing me around and pleased I was there. And but I asked about my mother, which I shouldn't. Why I did that, I'm not sure. And there was a very interesting, a long rope. I won't bore people with it, but it came and came. But yeah, Merlin was there. And he stayed with me. And then when I asked another question, he showed me like a different dimension that I could go off into the records.
Well, the Akashic records are anything. They can be anything. Did you see somebody else posted that they saw Merlin too? Who was that?
No.
Someone else did. Oh, Denise. Denise in Chicago said Merlin came to her too. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, that's great. I
Do y'all
didn't
have
see
stuff
that.
like that happen when you do this group? That you have similar experiences?
Can do. Messages can be similar. I can't
Mm.
see Denise. I'll work on my screen, but I haven't, and I'll check
Yeah.
the chat. But thank
She's
you.
in
That was
Chicago.
fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
I'm in Australia.
Oh, Australia. I was wondering what the accent was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing. Anybody else have something they want to share? Even a question about Daisy. Daisy?
I had to figure out unmute, sorry.
Oh, I know.
Um,
Okay, me too.
My Akashic Records was like a roll of paper with a ribbon tied around it.
Oh, cool.
And it was like a Costco warehouse with all these rolls.
You can get everything you want.
Yeah. And I didn't really open it. I just asked the question. And my question is, in this life, I was a baby whisperer, and I wanted to know if I will continue to have that ability in other lives. And my answer was, you have always been, and you always will be, which is really nice.
That's nice.
And then I said, okay, since that's done, tell me about my daughter and me, and the answer was have hope.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
that was a nice thing.
That
But
is
it was
nice.
very relaxing, and I felt that you know, when I do readings, I ground myself with the earth, and I feel the energy go back and forth. And so I did feel that with this meditation also.
Good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the imagery. I've never thought of the Akashic Records as like Costco. So that's cool. Others who would like to share about anything. Giles, you can just talk. Is that Giles? Are you putting your hand up, or you're stuck? I can't tell.
No, I'm not stuck. I'm just waiting
Oh.
for you to say time for Giles to
A
talk.
time for Giles.
Where do I get hold of a text of your hypnosis script? Do you have such a thing available?
Yeah, no. You have the recording you just that Sheila made. I have a lot of hypnosis. I have some hypnosis recordings I used to make specifically for my clients. And the only one, I don't have one for Akashic Records. I have one for increasing psychic ability, but I don't have one for Akashic Records. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
But I think you could use this, couldn't
Yeah.
Sheila? Couldn't you just use this?
I will post it on
Yeah.
on my YouTube channel, and you can use that.
Yes,
We have
thank
some
you.
more comments in the chat too.
Lori?
Thank you. I have a question about when you have us looking up at our
Begging
hairline.
your pardon, Laurie, begging your pardon, but it's Bill Rain's turn. He had his hand up
Oh,
first.
I didn't see the he must be on the second page. I'm sorry. Y'all
He's
should
on the
just speak
first
up. 'Cause-
page.
Oh, he is, and I didn't see it. Just okay.
Okay.
Who's going to talk next? Oh, Bill, I'm sorry. You should just talk because I'm like looking all over the place and not finding you. So just talk, Bill. I
Yeah.
can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm
Okay.
here now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I seem to be on when I got there, and you'd said like pause before you go in, and you seem to be on like a raised platform, and there was just these rows and rows and rows of shelving, and this guy appeared at the side, and the next thing I was like down in the row next to this table, and he brought this book about 4 inches thick, heavily tooled leather, patterns on it, a lot of dust on it, and he put it down in front of us on the table, and I was a bit at a loss at that, and I said, "What's this?" He says, "Well, which volume do you want?" And that took us by surprise, that. And I just mentally asked the question that I already had wrote down. And he said, "You've already had the answers, sir." And I thought, no, well, that was short and sweet, wasn't it? And I couldn't get myself back to look at the other question that needed a bit more. And then you brought us back.
Oh, yeah.
But there was a table next to us, and there was a couple of guys talking in very hushed tones. And one of them had a suit on, but no
Really?
tie. And he was sort of leaning on the table, and he was talking to this other guy that had his back to me. And there was another one sitting at the side. And they were just sort of talking in hushed tones. And I thought, I wonder if they're talking about me. But then we come back. So
But you know, and like I say, these things usually last a lot longer. You can actually go back. You already know this. It's like a dream. You can go back into the very same thing you just described and go up to their table and be polite about it. I'm sure you will be, and ask if you can sit down and talk. But you sounds like you have a cool book. A book of life that needs dusting off.
Yes, certainly. It sounded like it, didn't it?
Okay, let's go back to Laurie, and then we've got Karen and Savarna. I'm not sure who was
Okay.
who of those.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's first. Just talk. Whoever wants to ask a question or
Go ahead,
say
Laurie.
something.
Okay, thank you. So my question was, when you had us look up at our hairline, that's something that I had never.
I may have lost her. I don't know, Lori, if I can hear you. Lori, can you hear us? I can't hear. I don't think I even see you.
I think she dropped off.
I think something happened. Let me just answer what I think. She said she'd never experienced that before. Had anybody else ever done that? Where you roll your eyes up? So it's a hypnotic technique that if you did it even longer than what I did it, your eyes at some point, you just want me to say, close my eyes, just shut up, Karen, and let me close my eyes. And it's a strain to do that for long. I figured all of you all already kind of know how to get there. So I probably went a little faster than I usually do, but that looking up at the eye without moving the head, just looking up at the eyes, at the hairline is a self-hypnosis technique. I had some real challenging clients when I first started doing hypnotherapy. Even some of them were Christians, which I have no problem with, but I couldn't even use the imagery of a divine figure with them because it was against their religion. So I've had to learn people who have really chattered minds. You have to learn other techniques to help people learn how to quiet their mind, because if they're not going to use an imagery of an angel, even an angel was like taboo. So I learned about the rolling up of the eyes, and you probably know that if you really have a mind that won't shut off to stare at something like a candle, that those things help. Did Lori ever come back?
No,
Is she gone, Sheila?
she's gone. So let's go to Savarna.
Okay. Who's
You know,
next?
Hi. Thank you for this experience. And yeah, I was able to connect and got some good practical information about a kind of difficult family situation.
Oh, good.
They just said, look at it more from a third eye perspective and don't look for any emotional healing in this realm. And
oh, wow.
I was curious, the book had this crimson swirl on it. That was a thing that drew me. I thought, what's the crimson swirl? And it was a significant thing for blood. It was like the bloodline. This is the deal about that bloodline. But I have two quick questions.
Can I make a suggestion first, Savarna?
Yeah.
And this is for all of you. Even if you're not an artist, I would take out some paints or color pencils or crayons, whatever, and I'd paint that swirl. Something that stood out for you. Yeah, because it's a way to validate. See, we have to convince our psychic minds that we value it. Now, maybe you guys do, but the people out there really don't always. And so one of the ways you really make it solid is to validate it by, drawing a picture of it. But yeah,
I think that's such a great point, because I just didn't know what it was, but as I drew it, and I was wondering, like, what is the crimson? Why did that? What was that? Seem more significant? That's when the connection happened. Oh, this is a blood connection and not really a soul contract right now.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, my two questions. One, is it the records of things past, or is it more in that kind of expansive now time? And if what about all the quantum potentials or possibilities? And the other thing, I'll just toss it in there too. I've heard somewhere that it's good to ask permission before you look into anybody else's books. So those are my two
Yeah.
questions.
So let me talk first about the past, present. You know, there's I think at the level of the Akashic records, we probably don't have past, present, future. So that's why it's also important with your question, to define it clearly. I like to look at the Akashic records providing possibilities. I'm not a person who believes that we come in with an exact plan, that we have I'm not someone who believes in soul contracts necessarily. I don't think that things are set in stone. I think we have a lot of free will. And I think when you go to the records, if you keep open, I mean, would you rather read a book about, okay, here are 3 possibilities for the mate I'm going to have in life, and let me look at what I need to know about this, is more important, I think, than saying this is the direction to go. Go be a doctor, as opposed to there's options. And so I think that you can certainly, I think, look at past lives up there. Some people do past life work by going up to the Akashic records and asking for a book on a past life. I also look at the Akashic records as more of a tool, and a tool that's been used for centuries. So there's a lot of energy built up around it that I think makes it easier to access the records, but it is a tool. It's not, is it an actual place? I don't think we really know that. Just like I don't think we really know what happens when we die. I mean, I know what happens when I'm reading someone and there's a dead person there. That's what I know. And I try to take my belief and put it over here. So I think it helps to go to I don't know if I'm answering your question. I'm probably going all over the place, but I think it helps to go to the Akashic records with an open mind and thinking that I can ask anything about any time period, about anything. It doesn't even have to be about you. Now you get into the idea of permission. I'm not for using psychic ability to gossip about somebody in my life. I don't think it's right. I think there's a whole issue of ethics and boundaries. I've had students where they told me that I nagged them constantly about ethics and boundaries. And when they started being professional psychics, they came back and apologized for me because they said I was a nag. And I said, you won't do this work long-term if you don't have ethics and boundaries. So at some level, we do need to understand that we don't have a right to go out into the grocery store like the Long Island medium and ask, go up to that person and start telling them about their dead grandmother. I do have issues with that. But I guess there are times during a reading, I will ask permission if I can delve into like their childhood, because I'm going to read what's there. And if they don't want to hear it, I don't want to tell them, because I tell people everything I get. So I do think there's an issue of permission, but I also think it's a way of being in the world. Like, are you using your psychic abilities to get an advantage on someone? I think if you already don't do that, then you're probably good. Yeah, I don't generally, as a rule, ask permission, but then I'm doing, I don't go in just to get information about some. I probably should do more of that, and I wouldn't make so many mistakes. But I don't.
Thank you.
Okay.
And in my question, I was just asking, what's the best attitude to bring, or how can I be in the situation in the best way? So I wasn't really looking for a future answer, or how the future.
And you can go back and say, I want to know in the future, what are my options? If I pick this, what's a potential outcome? And if I pick that, what's a potential outcome? And I think you can get records, books on everything.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Karen is next, and then Kathleen.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Karen. I'm wondering how long we were in that space, because I went deep, deep, deep. My soul was very activated, and yet I didn't have an awareness of being there with the Akashic records or getting an answer. So I'm presuming with that experience, I needed to be a little bit longer in the process.
Could have been, but it sounds like you might have gotten really deep really fast. Do you think?
Yeah, I did. I went pretty fast. Yeah.
Have you had experiences with hypnosis before?
I have had hypnosis a few times before. Yeah.
And do you usually have that experience, or are you present with whatever the person's saying?
The first 2 times I was very present, but more recently, less so. I go deeper. I think I just trust it and I just drop in.
And are you seeing a professional hypnotherapist when you had these experiences?
I had been, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So one thing I'd suggest is you have a conversation with a hypnotherapist about this,
Oh,
about your going. And I'll tell you, there are times when I purposely took a client really deep. I wanted to get them to the point where they weren't hearing my voice. I couldn't do that with you all because I want you to remember. And I start giving them positive suggestions about the issues they're working on. And there's a lot of benefit in just doing that. But it's also important sometimes to keep your awareness up. You know, hypnosis isn't about checking out. It's about being more aware. And I don't know this, Karen, and I love the spelling of your name because I'm so sick of these people being defaming my name. So I should spell it like yours. I would just be a little bit concerned if there's something you want to pass through and not pay attention to. And I don't know you, so I don't know that, but I talked to your hypnotherapist about sometimes when we go too deep, too fast, we go right past the thing we really don't want to look at. And so I think it's at least important to check that out.
okay, fascinating. Now I want to practice this a few times on my own.
Mhm.
So what is the general period of time that you would have a client be present in this exercise?
When I did them in a classroom setting. I mean, I did individual sessions, but when I did Akashic Records, it was in a classroom setting. And gosh, the session might last 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I want you to know, I have never done this virtually. I mean, I've done it with a bigger group than this, but not virtually. And it's really a new experience for me. And I do think you could use the same thing over the recording, just to use the recording part, and you could use that to help you. And if you wanted to pause it, you could not listen to what I'm saying and just stay in the records to get more information.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Karen.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think Kathleen is our last hand up.
Kathleen, where is she? She's still here?
Yes, I'm on page 1.
Oh, on page 1. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Thank you so much. Just 2 things. I'm not a visual person, but I was overwhelmed with heat when I asked my question, and so I felt that was a yes answer.
Yeah.
But something that you said just a minute ago was getting permission to read someone. Do you feel that we walk around that our Akashic record is in our aura?
Yeah, I think it's real possible. Yeah. I mean, you know, I take you up into the cosmos, but yeah, you know, it's within, it's around, it's ever present.
I have this feeling that when you walk into a room and you meet someone and then all of a sudden you know someone, you each know each other, that somewhere their story is vibrating and my story is vibrating, and those little pieces of where we know the same people kind of overlap, and that's what drew us together. Would that be part of walking around in your Akashic record?
Well, I'd never heard of that idea.
I never heard it.
I'm open to that possibility. And I think the Akashic Records is a tool. Is it a specific place? I think someone here said it was like Carl Jung's collective unconscious, you know, that, you know, the idea that we all connect through that very thing. Well, that may be the Akashic Records, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. I think we all walk in a room and have a vibe that even people who don't believe in any of this stuff think they do that all the time. I don't know whether it's specifically an Akashic record reading that's happening automatically, or just the whole aura itself is full of information and we're tuning into that. I don't think it matters what tool is being used, but it is, I believe, the capacity of all of our minds, the psychic sense, that's doing it. Yeah,
Thank you.
but that's an interesting concept. I'll have to think about it, Kathleen.
Lori got back in finally, so
okay.
let her ask her question and then we'll end.
There,
Sister
Lori.
Rosemary.
Sorry we lost you.
Yes, and I'm sorry it took a while to get back in.
And so it happens. I'm
Thank
grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so grateful that Dana, my friend, is there looking out for me. Thank you, Dana. I love you. Okay. We haven't seen each other in a long time. Okay. Thank you. So I'm sorry. My question was, you had us looking up towards our hairline, and I have never experienced that as a technique for any kind of meditation. So can you speak to what that does that helps us to
Mhm.
achieve our goal.
Yeah, I learned that technique in hypnosis training as a self-hypnosis technique, though I have had clients that I've had do it too, because if they can't stop the chatter, it helps to do something physical. So that's part of it, is that you're looking up here, and as I'm giving you suggestions about how much it strains your eyes and your eyelids are getting heavy and you just want to close your eyes, but Karen is so mean, she won't let me. It's just a tool. It's one of the many hypnotic techniques to help you enter into a trance, so that when you finally get to close your eyes, and a lot of times people in a class or in one-on-one clients, they already have their eyes closed, even though I haven't asked them to, because there's such a desire to close them and not tune into the world out there, that becomes a great tool for getting into trance. And you can do it for yourself as a technique to get there. Sister Rosemarie, did that answer your question, Lori? Okay,
Yeah, thank you very
you're welcome. Sister Rosemarie?
Yes, thank you so much for this evening and your beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm caught in a loop of time,
Mhm.
and this is like the end of it. It's been a week, about a week, and it started with a dream where I was in the tree pose, yoga tree pose, doing pranayams, and I took off like a rocket up into the cosmos.
Wow.
So as I come to this tonight, I'm still doing that. I'm still in that rocket, but in between, I had a sort of a health, I thought it was my health emergency, sort of pain in my left arm, but since then, one of our monks had a massive stroke.
Oh, wow.
And he was airlifted to the hospital and put in comfort care and ascended the next day. So we're all in that sort of shock, because he hadn't been sick. He was 77. So as I was going into this, I was back in my rocket, and my question was, is there any message from him? Or what was my other question? Oh, what is it I should know at this time? And what came, my guide is always around, always. So of course he met me there at the Akashic Records, and he was he touched my vein. And as the other person here was talking about the bloodline, I became aware that I'm a medium, that already in a couple of readings, all of his monks were around him, welcoming him into eternity. So I had that sense. And then it's sort of at another, he was a twin, and I'm a twin. And so I got, on my feminine side, I got this tear, and I right away connected with his twin, because when my twin passed, it was like I had lost a limb. You know, it was a surprise to me, and I can't wait to meet her and tell her to be prepared if she hasn't already. But the ending of it was this sense of bliss on my feet and reconnection to the earth. And that comes to the last enemy under your feet is death. And so that's where sort of my bliss came in, and it seemed like the whole week was all together. Does that seem right?
Seems like you've been doing this before you came tonight.
Yeah, that's what I felt too.
I think you were already prepared.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, sister.
Well, thank you, Karen. You've really brought a lot to us tonight.
Oh, this is a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for letting me do this.
We're here on the first and third Wednesday of the month, every month. We've been doing this for 3 years now, almost.
Well, how did you guys get started? Oh, you just,
some of us were at the AREI, Afterlife Research Education Institute seminar. Wait a minute, I'm going to stop the recording.